Hello, everybody, and welcome to this is a special episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, for no other reason than it was the podcast that almost never was. I kind of forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but I knew I had a different schedule this week than I normally do, which I am usually great with. I'm very adaptable, flexible. I try and be, at least. But every once in a while, it throws me off. So I woke up today thinking it was Thursday. Now, that is not fully an excuse, because that would mean that I would have had to have put up the podcast on that morning, this morning, if we were living in the reality that it was Thursday. So it's not an excuse. If I thought it was Tuesday, that's one thing, but I thought it was the day after. So there's that. But I was looking and I thought, you know what? I don't know that this podcast is going to happen. And I'd normally just, fit it into an on-the-go mobile episode, but that I had the air conditioning going. It was just a mess. But I've sliced out some time, and this is going to be what I call a supersized episode. Now, the problem is my definition of supersized is going to be opposite day. So it might not be the full length of Tomfoolery. It just might be shorter Tomfoolery. Actually, that is a stunning title. Shorter Tomfoolery. Although who knows? Maybe I'll get started and we'll be off to the races. I just have to Google how to spell Tomfoolery. Like it sounds. Perfect. And while I'm on the Wikipedia page, tell me what it means. Tomfoolery refers to foolish or silly behavior, often playful and involving pranks or antics. The term tomfoolery, this is from Merriam-Webster, evolved from tomfool, which was a common name for a jester or buffoon, especially in the 17th century. You know what? You could never say, I don't teach you anything. You could absolutely say, I don't teach anyone anything useful. You could add that asterisk at the end there. But I'm always teaching. I'm a teacher. I am a teacher. Which, speaking of, I feel like I've gotten so many back to school ads recently, more than normal. It's July, people. I understand. I think I talked about this the other week. I understand everyone goes back to school at a different time. I am not the center of the universe, or so I've been told. I'm starting to hear rumors. Although a couple things have happened this week where I'm and how is that supposed to not be about me? Does that ever happen to you where something happens and you're no, this is for me? I'm sorry, Freaky Friday 2 is for me. The announcement that, Nutella is coming out with the peanut butter version is for me. For that all to be happening in the same year. Actually, I guess that doesn't have anything to do with me. Unless, this was my year. This is definitely not my year. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, it's actually less pressure to be having maybe, I don't want to say a bad year, but we're in a growth. We're in a building phase. After a team wins the Super Bowl or something, or maybe not the Super Bowl, but usually the Stanley Cup, hockey. They normally it's not common that they do super well the next year because they start building again. Now, this is a terrible year to make that comparison. And excuse me for all the current events. I normally try and stay away from that. But I know the same team won this year and last year for the Stanley Cup. And I think as well as the Super Bowl. So I'm really talking out of my you-know-what, talking about sports. But I try and keep up. And I got a random excitement alert. That's not English. I got like excitement within myself thinking about how football was coming up. Like, fall is around the corner. And not in like it's too early. Like, no, it kind of is. Like, to me, September 1st is the start of fall. It's about to be August 1st, like any minute now. For some reason, this is the last episode of January, of July. Like, when you hear this, Christmas in July will be almost over. I have watched 0 Christmas movies. And it's going to be August 1st. And then it's going to be September 1st. And then we're going to be drinking pumpkin spice, and that's going to be it. Like, the fact that we are closer to this year's Christmas than last year's Christmas is horrifying to me. How does that happen? How does time fly that fast? Who did time piss off that it keeps getting like kicked in the teeth and thrown into next week? I don't know. It kind of stresses me out sometimes. But then I just think, have a bowl of cereal. You'll be fine. Just relax. You know, nothing really is that serious. When it gets down to it, when you get down to business, we'll be fine. The world really does keep turning. Until it doesn't, and then it's like, well, it's over. I don't know. I think that's a comforting thought. I don't know what's happening. This is not the tomfoolery I suspect it to happen on this episode. Oh, I need a hold on my credit card. I keep spending money online. It's been really bad this week. Like, really bad. So if anyone has any tips for like how to not spend money, I'm going to need it. Because I just keep doing, again, like I said, it's maybe not been my year, but I'm making it through. I'm pushing through. So I'm like, oh, I deserve this. I deserve to spend, $60 plus shipping on 4 protein bars. I deserve that. And even if that's the case, that doesn't mean I have to give in to that compulsion. I think that's where I need to work on it. I think I need to both start acknowledging, like, yes, self, you deserve it. Also, that doesn't mean we have to get it. Spend $5 on an iced coffee like a normal person, not $20 on shipping to get a special type of protein powder from point A to point B. And that's the thing with protein powder. It's so expensive, and okay, sure, I get it. But it's so expensive for you to get this gigantic thing of powder that then you might hate, and then you're just stuck with it. Like, what type of business model is that? Actually, I exactly see the business model. Like, you're just spending money. They just want your money. But, like, what happened? Like, where is the free trial of the protein powder world? They need to figure that out. And I'm sure you can buy, like, sample sizes or whatever. But that costs shipping, too. What is shipping? That's the question I think we really need to answer in 2025. What is the breakdown? Why is shipping so expensive? I was on a British website the other day, just looking at like British peanut butter, don't ask. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is like kind of affordable. Do I need to buy British peanut butter? And then I got to shipping, and I swear to you, it was like $90 of shipping. Like, surely people aren't paying for that. Did I think about it? Absolutely. Did I read reviews of this peanut butter to like make sure that I was like 100% sure that I didn't want to shell out the $90? Potentially. But I didn't do it. And that's what it comes down to. I did not do it. I'm celebrating an anniversary this month. I don't know exactly what day, but this month. It has been 1 year since I forgot my Instagram password. Oh no, even worse. Since I forgot my phone password in just period. Had to reset my phone and then lost access to really any sort of app that I had gone through the extra steps of making that authenticator thing for. So it's been a year since I've had access to my Instagram. I can only imagine all the people trying to get in contact with me. You know, all my friends from yesteryear. I can't, all the birthday wishes, all the Christmas wishes. That's a year of holidays. Couple birthday, I guess just one birthday. I guess you only have one birthday a year. Although they should fix that. But I'm not a birth month person. And I'm, happy with that. And that's no offense to anyone that is. If that is your thing, that's amazing. But, I also think I'm not a birth month person because my birthday is, the first week of the month. So it feels stupid to, still be harping on it, the second week. Whereas I could totally see if your birth month, if your birthday is May 27th, you have all of May to be it's my birth month. Or birthday's coming up, birthday's dropping soon. Whereas for me, it's I'm not going to be in April talking about how my birthday's first week of May, saying my birthday's this month, it's not. It's within a month. So really, April's more my birth month. Do I take up April as a birth month? And another thing I'm confused about is birthmarks. I'm going to Google that. How do birthmarks happen? They are caused, again, this is just by the AI thing. If anyone was tuning in a few episodes ago, when I was bragging about how I didn't really use AI, and then I realized that this Google thing, when you type something in on Google, and it's that box, you don't even have to click the articles, apparently that's AI. So I use AI every day, I just didn't know it. They are caused by an overgrowth of blood vessels or pigment cells. And most are harmless. Okay. Most is a little alarming. Although I don't have as many. Are there 31 days in July? Is there a July 31st? I believe there is. Don't get me started on that either. I just, with these, some months want to be longer than others. That is just, the tomfoolery. Talk about a theme. Tomfoolery at its finest. Speaking of holidays, I finally went through my Apple Calendar and deleted all of those. Do you know how... Oh, there's Angry Birds. Not the game. Oh my gosh. Why are we so mad, everybody? I've never heard anything like this. Listen. Are they having a brawl? Nature is healing, but apparently not. Nature needs healing. Anyway, what was I saying? Nature's healing. Oh, I went through and deleted all of the holidays that Apple decided I needed to know. I'm not going to say any because I don't always know the background of these holidays, so I don't want to be making fun of a holiday that's actually important. So I'm going to err on the side of caution. But there are some that I'm just like, this is not what I need to be concerned about, you know? It's just not. Like, I have a lot going on. Except I don't. But you know what I mean. I feel like I would be good at being busy. I'm just like not always, you know? Except at the beginning of this podcast where I was talking about how I had absolutely no time to record. Where there's a will, there's a way. I truly believe that. You can really make time for anything. It's just sometimes nice to have an excuse not to. You know what we're also coming up on a year of? My Awala. This is the longest relationship I've had, period. No, this is the longest relationship I've had with a water bottle. I normally will maybe go 2 months, and then what usually happens is the amount of times I'm making bathroom trips stops being worth it, and I don't see enough of an improvement in my overall health and well-being from drinking water. I feel like not that I'm special, because I know I'm not. But I feel like this whole you need a certain amount of cups of water a day, I don't want to say it doesn't apply to me. I want to say I'm just not as dehydrated as everybody else. Maybe that's the way to put it. Because one of these a day and I'm good. You know, I drink my water. I'm not drinking nothing. Also, does drinking Diet Coke count at all? Does it count at all towards your water intake? Because there's got to be water in that magic, right? The joke about Diet Coke is it actually doesn't taste good. I don't know who decided that this is what we were drinking. But no, it doesn't taste good. But half the world, at least half my world, is hooked on it. But I guess you could say the same thing about alcohol. Now, I don't drink. But I feel like most people aren't drinking alcohol for the taste. Unless you are. With wine and cheese. Also, I would love to know, speaking of wine and cheese, when did we decide that we were calling a cheese board, a Lunchable, charcuterie? Now, I understand it's French, and I'm very pro-French, the French language, because it's kind of the only other language I know, and by kind of, I mean I learned it in school, and I maybe know 12% of French. But I can rock with that 12%. I can have a conversation with that 12%. I might not understand what you're saying, but I can tell you how I'm doing. Comme ci, comme ça. And if you speak very slowly and use only words I know, I can understand, you know? Which is really the same as English. But, when did we decide, no, we're using the word charcuterie? It was within the last, I want to say it was, right before COVID that this happened. Because then during COVID, everyone was making charcuterie boards for their Zoom happy hours. If there's 2 words that make me sweat, it's charcuterie, because I can't spell it, and Zoom happy hour, which I realize is not a word. It's more I guess it's more of a term. Not of endearment, but, you know. Anyway. I mean, hey, this is going on longer than I thought. I'm going to take a sip of water. I feel like, for whatever reason, my throat has been, very dry recently. Specifically when recording this podcast. I feel like I sound very, like, even more nasally and dry than normal. I'm just going to blame... What is this called? I am going to blame... Who am I blaming? I forgot. Oh, allergies, duh. I'm going to blame allergies. It's the allergies, people. It's the allergies. There's really nothing that you can't blame allergies on. It's also like no one will believe you. It's like you're openly lying. But you kind of just be like, oh, it's allergies. It's like I always say, if you ever need a decent excuse, just say like, oh, I have a bladder infection. No one's asking follow-up questions to that. I promise you. You can't prove it. It's the perfect formula. Bladder infection. Bladder infection, allergies. Although people use, it's so funny. I feel like allergies are like so often people are looking for an excuse to like get out of things. And they're like, oh, I'm sick. And then people will be actually sick. And they're like, oh no, it's allergies. It's like, well, you got what you wanted. Not that anyone wants to be sick, but like a cold, you know? Like you can get out of something, be like, oh, sorry, I can't come to dinner, I have a cold. And then it's like, you get a cold, and you're like, oh, no, I'm fine, I can be here, it's allergies. Like, what more do you people want? I don't know. Just some thoughts. I feel like this episode we've turned a corner. We've turned a corner, and before we turn another corner, I am going to say good night. Sorry this was a shorter one. Thank you for listening. At this shorter tomfoolery. If you've liked what you've heard, which we can be honest, you know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I feel like I started a lot of topics. I don't know that I finished a lot of topics, but that's okay. You know, not every thought needs a period at the end. Sometimes you can just exist in the dynamic nature of the thoughts in which come to your mind in the most organic form. If you ever wonder how I filled word counts, because I was an English major, that's how I did it. You just like sort of keep talking. It's like in The Office when, Michael Scott, who is the king of this, goes, sometimes I start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. That's me. That is me. And I know it's probably cringy to compare yourself to Michael Scott because, yikes, I can't believe I did that. But like, that is me. You know, you don't always have to know where a sentence is going. It's actually fun. Ready? Let's all try it. Let's start BS sentences. A tree is a symbolism for the green that happens when you reveal yourself to the open grass in nature for the love of the life that we lead in the ecosystem of our hearts. Like, I just said absolutely nothing, but it sounded so beautiful. Sometimes I'll be listening to songs and I'm like, you don't know what you mean. I'm not going to call anybody out. But there is one singer who I swear, like, I would love to meet one day. And, like, I enjoy this person. They're a good singer. Songs are good. But, like, you don't know what you are saying. Like, you're just saying things that sound fancy. I promise you. Like, I promise you are. Okay, something funny just happened. I'm in the car, and I'm driving now. But I was in the parking lot, and I've paid to park. I've been here all day. And the parking guy, like the guy that issues the tickets, so like everyone's favorite person, which I feel bad. I feel like I would be horrible at that job. I'd be like, you know what, maybe they're running late, maybe they forgot. He pulls up like right next to me, and I'm like, oh no. But I'm like, no, I paid. So, well, for the first reason I'm like, oh no, is because I'm recording the Nobody Asked for This podcast, and I was recording it in a way just like into my phone. So if you were just looking at me, it would look like I was on speakerphone, but my window was wide open. So then I realized that like I can't pretend I'm on speakerphone because he's not going to be able to, like, there's no one else on the other line. Like the call's coming from inside the house type thing. Like it's not like I'm talking to somebody. So I was like, oops, but I don't really care. Like honestly, closest thing I've had to a listener in weeks is this parking guy parking next to me. And then he's like looking at my license plate. And I'm like, oh, he thinks, you know, this lowly podcaster or this just, you know, maybe not most sanest person who's just talking into their phone, or maybe just talking to themselves because you can't really see that I'm recording if you're not looking at my screen. So I don't know which worse. I don't know if it's better that he thinks I'm recording myself or not recording myself. But regardless, he was trying to get me for not paying to park. So I just sat there. You know, maybe if I was guilty, I would leave, I would run, I would flee, fight or flight would kick in. But I didn't. I just sat there. I let him stand. Literally, this human being stood in front of my car. My windows were open. We could have chatted. Wrote my license plate down into his app or whatever. Realized I paid. I gave him a neighborly wave. And he left. So that was kind of like an interesting interaction for me. That was funny. I quite enjoyed that. There's nothing like knowing someone's trying to catch you for something. And listen, he's just doing his job. Like, he's not evil. Like, that's your job, you know? But there was so much power in knowing, like, I actually don't have to flee. And I don't have to fight. I just have to sit here and record 3 more minutes of the Nobody Asked for This podcast to fulfill my duties that I actually didn't think I was going to fulfill. So isn't that cool? This is some shorter tomfoolery that didn't, you know, parentheses, didn't actually end up being shorter. How fun is that? That's like the best kind of tomfoolery. Or the worst, depending on what you were hoping for. It's still kind of hot outside. It was a hotter day today. Gotta roll down these windows. Yikes. Apologies, but then the audio is gonna be messed up, and then I can't put on the air conditioner because that's really gonna mess up the audio. These are the problems I face. What else did I do this week? Oh, I went to the movies. What did I see? Fantastic Four. My new thing is going to the movies, and my new thing is just like not having a plan for what movies I'm going to see, and just like whatever time I get there, whatever the next movie is, or the next like whatever movie star in the next 20 minutes, or really in the past 20 minutes, because you don't really have to be there like in the beginning. Like I used to be like, if we are not at the theater 45 minutes before the projected showtime, like I can't go. Now, if I'm in the theater 20 minutes before the showtime starts, I'm not going. I'm going to the one that started 20 minutes ago because that means it actually just started. No, I don't have time to watch like the same commercials. Although sometimes I enjoy the commercials. Although I don't enjoy these like post-credit scenes where like they start rolling the credits. And like, I think it's important for everyone to be acknowledged for their work, yes. Like, let's see who did, you know, the food service direction and costume and stuff. Like, yes, they worked hard on the movie as well. But, like, not always the most interesting sequence to sit through. But now they're putting all of these, like, bonus scenes, essentially, at the end of these films, but you have to go through the 5 minutes of credits. So then they don't turn on the lights because they want to signal to you this movie's not over. But to me, the movie's over. Especially because a lot of it is like that Marvel stuff. Like Marvel will put like a teaser for like the next movie, and I usually only see like every other or every third Marvel movie. I enjoy a Marvel movie, nothing against it, but like I just don't see every one, so I don't really need to know like the teasers. Like I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it. So I'm always trying to sneak out, and then I feel bad because it's like, well, am I being disruptive because the movie's not over? But like the movie's technically over, and then it's that other thing of like trying to beat traffic. Not that it's the same as a concert, but a lot of the times, for whatever reason, the movies like end at similar times as the other ones. So it is better if you leave a few minutes earlier. But, yeah. I don't know what I was trying to say. Oops, okay, I actually did that really stupid. Anyway. Thank you for listening if you took the time to listen to this. Thank you, shout out to the parking man for giving me the boost of energy I needed to fully complete this episode. I am going to go turn on my air conditioning. And if you'd like what you heard, you can go to podcastnobodyaskedforthis.podbean.com. On there you can find links to everywhere you can listen to the show. You can also just listen to the show right on there. Again, thank you for listening. I will talk to you next week. And happy almost August. Goodbye.